Hello and welcome back to the On Wrestling and to another edition of Smackdown Out of 10. This week's show was all about the tag team gold and the men and women's titles being defended on the show. There was a lot going on. We also had Randy Orton explain why he turned on Cody Rhodes, and Jacob Fatu, Drew McIntyre feud continuing. So a lot going on. The show opened in chaos. They withdrew Shane assaulting Fatu in the parking lot after crashing his car on purpose. McIntyre eventually made his way to the arena and ran us on the mic until Nick Aldis came out yelling at him. Fatu made his way to the ring past security and went right after Drew. They fought all around the ring as Samoan Werewolf tried to get revenge. Security tried to drag him away, but Fatu freed himself and put McIntyre through the announce table with a big splash. A great way to open the show. It was more energetic than the usual talking segments, and it made the feud feel even more intense. Even without the titles, this storyline feels very important heading into the show of shows. Moving on into the men's tag team titles match with Truth and Priest taking on Tonga and Mateo. The rest of the MFTs were at ringside with the Wyatt Lanterns still in their possession. The Archer of Infamy took a lot of damage throughout the break, but he began shaking some headway once the show was back. The match itself was relatively average, but it was also a perfect illustration of how far the division has fallen. 6 months ago, this brand had several tag tearing the house down every night. Now it feels like a shell of its former self. Surprisingly, Truth and Priest ended up getting the victory to become the new tag champs thanks to some help from Uncle Howdy taking Scar out of ringside to provide a distraction. So I guess we're making it three-way. But yeah, a crazy win. I definitely didn't see that coming, but I'll give it a 6 out of 10. Moving on into Fraction versus MCMG. Second tag match in a row, and these are two of the teams who made SmackDown so fun to watch last year, so it's great to see them back in the ring together for the first time since August. Both teams favour a brisk pace and use their speed and agility to put on exciting performances. Fraser was especially fun to watch with his high risk offense. LeRae ended up interfering to help MCMG pick up the win, but it seemed like Sabin was unaware of her assistance when he got in the pin. Even with the dirty finish, this was one of the most entertaining matches of the week, and yeah, I think it's kind of intriguing to see where it's going to go next with Gargano obviously etc tied into the fold. So I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. Randy Orton then arrived in the arena to make his way to the ring to explain his actions, brutally attacking Cody last week. He sat in the same dented chair he used to attack Rhodes and spoke about how he tried to return love to the fans he had shown him, but he's been faking it. Over the years, we've gotten several heel and face turns from the Viper, so it's hard to find a new angle. He did his best to give a promo that would fit within his character, but yeah, I think it's safe to say this didn't really tread any new ground. So yeah, not much more to say here. As we then moved on to our next match, which was Sami Zayn taking on Aleister Black after 2 out of tense backstage interaction last week. Before they could begin, Trick arrived to watch the match from ringside. Black tried to get an early advantage by going after Zayn when he was distracted, but Zayn fought back and unloaded on him in the corner. These two work well as opponents because they have a lot of similar attributes while using completely different styles of offense. It's just too bad this match felt like a placeholder before Zayn and Williams feud kind of picks up steam. After Trick Williams threw a drink at him, Zayn attacked him. This led to Black hitting the finisher as soon as Zayn got back in the ring for the pin and the win. So yeah, overall I'm going to give this a 6 out of 10. Moving on then to Jay Cargill, who came to the ring and immediately called out Rhea Ripley and wasted no time to respond. It looked like Meechin and B-Fab were going to attack Cargill when she was leaving, but they ended up joining her to beat down Ripley. This made no sense. Meechin and B-Fab have been feuding with Jay Cargill. Now they are suddenly on her side without any reason. Nothing about this segment made sense or added really to the ongoing storyline. I think it's got to be said. So yeah, I'm not too sure about this. Moving on into Ilya Dragunov, who went to Aldis and convinced him to book a US title match against Carmelo Hayes after he gave the Mad Dragon a pep talk last week. These two have had a very respectful friendship, but as soon as the match started, they were both throwing hands to make it intense right away. These two have never had a bad match. Most of the time, they steal the show whenever they cross paths. It's gotten to that point where it feels a bit effortless for them to bring the best out of each other. They fought through 2 breaks and made the most of every minute. Hayes was able to get the win with a pinning combination to cap off a fantastic encounter. So yeah, on the whole, this gets an 8 out of 10 from me. As we then moved on to a break, Kit Wilson was in the ring, ready to call out Jelly Roll for crossing the line last week. As soon as Jelly got to the ring, Wilson ruled out to avoid him. The musician grabbed the mic and asked for a ref so they could fight, but Wilson said he was there to fight with his words. He read out a promo while he wrote while Jelly looked on confused. Jelly proceeded to respond with a series of mom jokes until Wilson attacked him and left him down in the ring. We would put money on this leading to Wilson and Miz versus Jelly Roll at Danhausen at WrestleMania. I mean, it's a weird combination, but I don't know, it could be interesting. As we then got, for the first time in almost 8 years, the Bella Twins teaming up to take on Nia Jax and Lash Legend for the women's titles. The Bella avoided an early attack, but the champs to the upper hand, but Jax eventually fought back. Flair and Bliss showed up to watch the match, and that distraction allowed Legends to take control. While it wasn't a horrible watch, you could see the rain rust on the bellows. Unfortunately, it ended in DQ when Charlotte attacked Jax for attempting to use her belt as a weapon. The champions ended up taking up both teams, which means there will almost certainly be a triple threat bout eventually. It feels like that's probably going to be at WrestleMania, but I guess we'll have to see. So yeah, overall I'm going to give it a 4 out of 10. As we then moved on to Randy Orton, who was shown talking to someone on the phone before the final break. He said he was going to head to the ring to fix it. When he got to the ring, he asked Cardona to join him. He apologised for how he treated him earlier in the show. Cardona appeared to forgive him, but Orton kicked him below the belt and hit an RKO. He stomped on Cardona's arm while it's wrapped in a chair, just right, several officials talking out to him. And the show finished with Fatu and McIntyre fighting outside. They ended up falling out of an elevated platform out of the view as the show went off the air. So yeah, pretty chaotic on both fronts. And yeah, the SmackDown this week kind of had some highs, also some lows, so it ended up being a pretty average episode. I enjoyed the US title match and Fraxian v MCMG. Orton's story was interesting to follow. I think he's better as a heel, but WWE still has a lot of work to do, I'd say, in making WrestleMania feel must-see as we come to the last kind of build. So I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10.
Guys, that's it for this video. Thanks very much for watching. Remember to like, share, subscribe, follow us on our socials, link in the description below for daily wrestling news, meme and content. Subscribe to our other channels on screen right now, that'd be greatly appreciated. Thanks very much for watching. Peace out.